Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video, and I want to address Draymond Green saying that he's the greatest defender in the history of the sport, or however that was worded, the greatest defender ever. So, like, for me, this is one of those situations, and Draymond's one of these kind of players where it's like, I'm going to defer to genius basketball minds, people who are great at the game, to really tell me what Draymond brings to the defensive end. Because me as a layman, I don't see it. Now, I'm not saying he's not a good defender. I've worded that wrong, so let me get this right. It's not that I don't see his impact on the defensive end, but for him to say he's the greatest defender of all time, there's no sign of that there. Like, I can think of a couple defenders that uh, eclipse him today, immediately. And it's like, I respect what Dre brings to the game. I know a lot of what he does is nuance and genius and about X's and O's and the science of basketball. And when you start digging into super genius basketball minds, they'll be able to really, like I said, tell you what Draymond can do. He's one of those players, you know. But at the same time, it's like, well, okay, when you say you're the greatest of all time, you do know who you're talking about being greater than, right? Like Michael Jordan. Um, think of amazing defenders like Bill Russell. And think about a guy like Kawhi Leonard, man. I think about a guy like Dikembe Mutombo. You know, people that just did defense. Dennis Rodman, like Gary Payton. These are the names coming to mind for me. You know, great defender. I think of like Tim Duncan. You know, they're the great defenders. People who are known for defending. Kevin Garnett. These are the defenders from my era. Like, you know what I mean? Tony Allen. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the defenders, the guys that come to mind when I think of the word defense in basketball. You know, I'm sure there are a million more if I want to think about it. It's plenty, trust. Draymond falls in line, but let's just be honest. When KD was with the Golden State Warriors and had that fantastic defense, it was KD that was getting a lot of the props. It was Clay getting the props on the defensive end. Those were the two guys that people were heralding as the defensive anchors of the team. Draymond was usually the guy that they said was heart and soul from a heart perspective and a facilitating perspective. He was able to keep their offense cohesive. Defensively, he talked well. You know, he was active and things like that. He'd have big steals games, some block games, but like, he's not considered to be the reason why they had the best defense. He was a part of it. A lot of times it was Clay. Like I said, Clay was the guy that, that's the defender. That dude's an amazing defender. Oh my God. Like, that was Clay's bag. And of course, KD, when he got there, it was like, oh, we have the rim protection that we were missing. Oh, we got him, coupled with like a little bit of Bogut in there. Ooh, we got some guys who can block some shots, but it was always like they were missing that during the 72 win Warriors. As great as they were, if they were missing really anything, it was rim protection. Like, they had JaVale, they had they had Bogut, but it was like, you have to nitpick to find if they had a problem at all. But if Draymond's the greatest defender of all time, we don't even have those conversations back then. Obviously. So, Max said something in his segment made sense to me. It's like, you have to have a certain mindset. If you're Draymond Green, you don't come out of the second round and turn into a Hall of Fame player on a dynasty team. If you don't have some type of irrational view of yourself and your confidence, which most great players do. Most players, period, do. Competition comes from having a belief in yourself that sometimes maybe others don't have, or what have you. But at the same time, it's like, do we take accomplishments into account? When I saying I'm the greatest this or the greatest that, have I put the footwork in? Not to say Draymond has or hasn't. I'm just saying these are things that we need to start considering when we have these conversations. It's like, okay, well, you're not only measuring accomplishments, but you're also measuring work ethic. You're measuring intangibles. You're measuring a lot of things when you start talking about the pinnacle of whatever it is you're talking about. The number one guy, the number one gal. Like, these are things that we need to really consider when we're talking about the best. It's nitpicking at that point. So I don't think Draymond has proven enough. He don't have the hardware. Where's the defensive player of the year trophies? How many of them you got? How many steals titles do you have? How many times did you lead the league in steals? How many times did you lead the league in blocks? Like, these are things you're going to have to, like, really think about. You can't just go off at your mouth and say you're the greatest. Are you sure? Because you better have the resume to back that up. Otherwise, you're just going to look like somebody who's irrationally trying to make us believe some shit that ain't true. And that's how people are going to take it. And they're not going to respect it. They're not going to look at it as that person's confident. Now, they're going to look at it as that dude's delusional, and he's being disrespectful to the guys who've actually proven they're in that conversation. So when we go about saying that we're the best this, we're the best that, you better believe there's going to be a couple people out there like myself saying, okay, well, show me the numbers. Show me the accomplishments. Let's measure you against the person who we actually believe is the greatest. And if you don't measure up, we laughing you out of here. So it's okay to have great confidence in yourself. But just don't say you the pinnacle of anything. You better be ready to prove that. I can say I have the confidence I can beat anybody in front of me. That's a different thing. That's literally a different thing. I can guard anybody. I believe I can guard anybody. You put any defender in front of me, I can guard him. That's a different thing than me saying I'm the greatest defender of all time. When you start talking about greatest, we have to tally up accomplishments. So that's what I got to say to Draymond. Defensively, your confidence is admirable, but what comes out of your mouth at that point then has to be challenged, and that's when it's going to break down. That's when the logic breaks down. So we need to be respectful of that. My name is BDF44, and I'm out.